in the Tarkov community, we are creating Grand Canyons in all of our minds that's how this game is played. That's how you're supposed to kill the AI. That's how you're supposed to get the good loot. That's how you're supposed to do it. We're pushing people into cheese whiz cans, and we're just cheesing everything. We're cheesing the bosses. We're cheesing the rogues. We're cheesing the raiders. And it's easy. And every time they make the raiders harder, it doesn't make us harder. It make it harder to cheese it. It makes it harder for everybody if you don't know how to cheese it. So they're just it's just the craziest fixes to the non-problem, and it doesn't affect the people that can abuse the mechanic. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, a show dedicated to talk about all the progress things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam.
And I'm Veritas, and Jesse just fat-shamed me right before we started.
No, I saw your triceps, and I was saying they were beautiful.
Where are they?
Where?
Give me a map. I need a... Draw a map for me.
Dude. Yeah.
Dude, speaking of triceps, that's actually a good... I was going to say segue. Is it a segue if we're literally just starting
yeah.
with the thing? But have you ever seen the documentary Free Solo?
No, but I know exactly what you're talking about. One of my friends has been trying to get me to watch that movie. I'm not against it. I just haven't got around to watching it.
You're morally and ethically...
Yeah. I stand against Free Solo. No, but I've heard it's incredible.
Yeah, 100%. You should watch it. I don't know how I ended up in this rabbit hole of back into rock climbing related content. I always liked rock climbing, and that was one of the things that especially in college I really liked was anything related to body weight stuff, just because I've never been clearly I'm not a big guy.
Yeah.
But back in college I was in much better shape than I am now, and I've always had a decent power to weight ratio.
Yeah.
I never remotely came close to benching a ton.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. But I could do 30 pull-ups in
yeah.
I used to do chin-ups with hanging 45 pounds for my waist, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I couldn't bench 135, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For more than one rep. So but yeah, so I always kind of enjoyed rock climbing, and then lately I was you know what, I've been trying to think of something to do, because not really interested in getting back into cycling this year. But I need to find something that I'm not gonna to prevent me from dying before I hit 50.
I've always been fascinated and attracted to I love lifting weights. I did a kind of strongman lift regimen for a while with my friend. That was I did that 5 days a week with my buddy. It was the strongest I'd ever felt. And then we had our first child, and I haven't worked out once a day since that was 4.5 years ago. I miss it so much. But I've always been attracted to more functional. One of the guys that trained me for a while was just all about body weight, rock climbing, any sort of functional movement, right, that you would do. You know what I mean? You don't often out in the real world find yourself, bench pressing or squatting a particular thing. So rock climbing and stuff like that, it's much more just functional.
You don't go out by Muscle Beach and just...
Yeah, you just have to reach for something and grab... 100%.
That's how you peacock to all your potential mates, right?
Yeah. So that guy was he was one of those guys that you looked at him and you were oh, I could beat you up. But he was so much stronger than you could ever imagine, because it was all just functional stuff. He wasn't just attacking a specific muscle group to get it huge. He could just do anything. He was so flexible. He was so strong. It was insane. And I was dude, I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah. So I don't know how I got into it, or if I started to look into one and it got me into the other, or how Google is am I watching these videos because they were recommended, or were they recommended because I was watching?
Yes.
But are you familiar with bouldering?
I mean, isn't that just rock climbing on boulders?
Well, so I'm sure there are rock climbing experts that are going to maul in the comments, but in general, I'm sure you've gone to indoor rock climbing places, right? Typically, at least when I've gone, there's always been two distinct parts. There's the big tall 20-30 foot wall
Yeah.
where there's someone who has to belay and you have a harness and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
And then there's the section over there with all of the really steep, weird walls where they're only like 10, maybe 15 feet tall, but there's no harnesses. And there's a lot of really weird shaped there's like half of a basketball and you know what I mean? Like all these. So that's bouldering basically. And I came across, I think it was recommended to me. Someone actually said it in chat too. There's a channel, his name's Magnus Mitbo. I know I'm not pronouncing it correct. But he does a bunch of rock climbing content, and I
think I know.
Honestly, I think it was probably after.
I have seen that guy's videos. I looked him up real quick. I've totally seen his videos before. Yep.
Yeah. It's really awesome content. So I've been down the rabbit hole where I've watched all of his stuff, and then of course I saw Free Solo years ago, and then I just recently watched it again. My wife was like, I'm not interested in watching it, whatever. She was watching a movie on her laptop. I was watching it on my laptop, and I kept seeing her like peek over. It's the most buck wild thing ever. I won't, there's nothing to like spoil really.
Yeah.
It's like old news, but just imagine climbing a 3,000 foot sheer granite cliff without a rope. Watch the documentary.
That's
the dude's the biggest fucking baller on planet Earth.
That's insane. That's insane.
But yeah, so then there's that, and there's this other guy, Adam Ondra, that I've been watching. He's like probably one of the best rock climbers in the world. But yeah, so I've been interested in getting into bouldering and something that I want to potentially get into.
That'd be fun.
You can just go alone. You don't need equipment other than like shoes and maybe like a chalk bag.
Yep.
I don't want to fucking have to belay. I don't want to have to dick around with harnesos.
Yep. That makes sense.
And the coolest part too is the fact that like when they call it, so it's bouldering, what they call it is like a boulder problem. So like you look at it and it's almost like when the people who create the boulder problem, quote unquote, make a route, they literally have like a bunch of holds just sitting on the ground, a bunch of shapes of, color, and they kind of figure out like, it's almost like creating a puzzle.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Or almost like actually making a track, like if you're talking about Trackmania, like building a track, you have an ideal line in mind. And usually what happens is like, usually the ideal line is the one that most people will take. Sometimes people can like break it and they'll just like skip a hold and do all kinds of other cool stuff. But it's almost like it's a really short mental and physical challenge.
Yeah.
That the idea of climbing a thing and taking 10 minutes and just being uncomfortable for 10 minutes and having like, fuck that.
Yeah.
But especially when it was lifting, I will be really uncomfortable and in pain for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And have it be really intense and then over. I'd much rather do sprints than marathons.
Yeah.
So bouldering seems like really good. Like chances are if I go to do a boulder I can't do, I'll stand on the thing, I'll go reach for the second one and I'll fall off. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You might jump and hold on a thing and then go to reach for the second one and fall off. And yeah, so
that's
I don't know.
Dope.
That might be my back door into getting in shape. But Free Solo is something
I need to watch that.
The poggers things in life you should go watch
that, because that is truly insane to think about a human being doing that.
It's the craziest shit
and the
ever.
concept that like the more tired you get, the more dangerous it is, right? Like you're the most tired at the end when you're at the highest point, like, you know what I mean? Not the other way around where you're like close to safety and you could bail towards the end if you can't make it. It's like you're dead.
Dude, and the best part is that they zoom in a bunch of times. They zoom in and he's 2,000 feet off the ground, right? And you see him like this little knob here. This is infinitely bigger than the things he's holding on to. 2,000 feet. Like you see him like on a little, and the best part is that like they'll crimp onto something like this, and they use their thumb as a fifth finger, like that. Because they need every little bit of surface area.
That's so insane.
It's like, oh god, yeah. So, and there's something really satisfying too, just about watching people do that. Anyway, I'm stoked. You should check that out. And and I have my book report prepared for. You told me you recommended Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
Did I? I don't think I responded. Or I didn't say anything to you about it yet. We haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago I recommended it. Last week the wipe had happened, so we were just talking about that. And then
so I watched it a few days after you recommended it to me. Dude, I wept.
Yep.
At the end.
Yes.
like utterly wept.
Yeah, same.
Like, no, I'm not even fucking ashamed.
No.
It was another one of those things where like I wept, took about 10 minutes to fucking get my shit together, walked upstairs and like went and snuggled with my wife. And
yeah.
she's like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, nah, I
love you.
Like, yeah, like, And the weirdest part about that movie is that the entire premise, like the whole core conceit of that movie, is something that I've been really weird. Like that's been something I think about my whole life. I've thought about in the weirdest context. It's like one of the stupid things that like I'm embarrassed about, where I'll be in a weird situation and what I will do is think about like what would happen if I did X being the least likely weirdest shit ever.
Yes.
And then I think about like, what if their response to that was like this other thing that like, like there's a universe in which, you know, I would go up to the woman making my sandwich at Subway and I would just go like out of nowhere. And that her instant reaction would be, she was thinking right before that, she'd be thinking, man, it would be so funny if a guy came up and went, and then she would instantly go, and it would be like,
what's the cosmic chance of that?
Yeah, but it's a non-zero chance that I would walk into Subway and go, and then instantly the woman would do the same thing, and we would both, and then we'd get married, and it would be like happily ever after. You know what I mean? I think about random shit like that all the time, where I'm like, what's the least likely thing? And the whole premise of the movie is like, do the least likely thing
in any
the
situation,
most ridiculous thing. And oh, dude, it was such a good movie.
It was crazy because it executed so well on so many different levels. Like remember when I told you were like, what is it about? I was like, it's a sci-fi movie about the multiverse, but everything you think of when I say that is wrong. Like, that's obviously not what the movie was about, but it executed on that sci-fi element of it so well, where they rode the line perfectly of not having to like overexpose like this huge exposition about what's happening in this other world. You didn't have to learn how they figured out how to do that. It was just enough that it was cool. It felt really 80s, you know, him in the van, like with all the equipment on. And then they even like grew the sci-fi genre, because that concept I had never seen in any of the most, you know, James Cameron sci-fi epics or Christopher Nolan. I had never heard of that. Like you need some sort of jump point to pass across into the other person. So that was so cool. But then all of the other things the movie was about, it executed on so perfectly as well that you were just like left unable to speak afterwards. Like me and my wife just sat there together on the couch crying, watching the credits roll. It was just like,
It did exactly what, and I remember when I first watched the trailer, I was making like ramen or something. I had it up on my phone, and I just remember being like, is this the right thing? Because it was like an Asian lady working at a laundromat, and I'm like, this is not the right thing.
Yeah.
And I remember actually even seeing the trailer, and I'm thinking back to like my reaction at the trailer. It had me intrigued, but not like super excited.
Yep.
Like I think they could have done a much better job with the trailer.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those things like they almost lost me at the trailer.
Yeah, you just really...
Like, if you hadn't have sold me on it, I wouldn't have watched the movie.
I was the same way. I just kept hearing it was so good. It was so good. So I was like, we'll give it a try.
But I've always hated the whole like parallel universes thing in other movies, because it's always like there's a parallel universe, you know, like the Upside Down.
Yeah.
There's a parallel universe, which to me is infinitely less likely than there being an infinite number. So I love that it took it to the logical conclusion, because my fucked up brain says, okay, if there's parallel universes, then there's a parallel universe where literally everything else is the same except I'm purple.
Yep.
And that's the movie. And that's the movie. You know, it's like, dude, the best, the whole...
Dude, unreal, dude. Unreal.
The fucking
hot dog fingers.
The hot dog fingers is... And at the end, the most ridiculous bullshit is part of what made me like weep.
Yeah.
Was there was just so many weird elements to that all put together to like, oh God, it's just so fucking good.
It was so good.
And I love that like the boogeyman I don't even mean the character, I just mean the concept.
Yeah.
Is the most arbitrary bullshit, whatever. It could be anything. It's a giant fucking bagel. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, dude.
Oh God, it's so good. Just watch the fucking movie.
The movie. Yeah.
Everything, everywhere,
all at once. It's unreal. We should
be getting paid for this,
dude. And then like after like all the chaos, like once again, it's not going to spoil anything. After all the chaos that had happened up into the movie, the like 90-second scene, the first time where they're the rocks, and that
had me like laugh.
Exactly.
Crying.
That is assaulting you emotionally in complete silence. After
that's like every frame of painting level.
100%. After all the prior in the movie is an assault on all of your senses, assault on sound, assault on visual. Like it's just crazy. It just takes this moment to just completely stop and then pick back up, and the craziness just continues to elevate after that. It was like an intermission that punched you in the gut. It was insane. It was insane. It felt real. It felt like real people made it. It felt like a real story. It didn't feel like a multi-billion-dollar corporation trying to sell us on some real current event thing. It just felt so real. Like I'm convinced none of them took a salary. Like it was so emotional. It was so raw. It was so real. Like unbelievable. Unbelievable. It was a very good movie.
It's now amongst the top 5 movies of all time. You like literally, I think I can only remember 3, right? There was Dark.
Yeah.
Severance.
Yeah.
And Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
And, like those 3.
Yeah.
Two TV shows and one movie. And now those 2 TV shows are in my definitely top 5, maybe top 3. And I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is almost definitely in my top 3 as well. I think it's like Saving Private Ryan. Interstellar is number 1.
Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan is probably number 3 now, and Everything Everywhere All at Once probably number 2. You're on fire, dude.
Yes, I love it.
I've been passing them on to my barber every time I sit down to my fucking barber and everything. He's like, "All right, what you got for me? What's the homework?"
That's funny. I was actually talking to my barber about it too the last time I went, and we had just watched the day before, and I was like, "Yo, you seen any movies lately?" And then he was like, "Yeah," and we talked about it. Oh, chat, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen that movie, please go watch that movie. It's very, very good. But yeah, so Escape from Tarkov is still a thing. It's still happening. And not a whole lot, not a whole lot has changed. We got some patches that have done some small things, some things that have shifted around. One of the biggest things that's floating around in the community right now, I have it right up at the top, is just like how weird and bad the desync is. Now, there's like, what's hard is that like I've seen some clips and I've seen some moments live that were pretty nuts, like pretty inexcusably nuts, but I haven't really felt any of that personally. Like my experience with the desync in Tarkov is it's just as bad as it has always been, but I've seen some stuff that's way worse. Way worse.
I mean, yeah, I am. Whenever I go on Twitter, I can't help but see. And then you sent me something, and then it sent me down a fucking. Did you see my like array of tweets?
Yes.
That I tweeted? Yeah, you can thank anybody who saw my shit on Twitter. You can thank Jesse for that. But like I've seen everything from the desync is the worst it's ever been.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at this clip.
Yeah.
And then all the way on the other side of things, like I haven't seen any of that. To which I can say, yeah, I've experienced every part of the
spectrum.
This is the worst it's ever been, and it's like, well, that's par for the course. Like that's the normal Tarkov I remember for the last multiple years is like that. And I mean, the only thing I can say is if the server is shitting its pants and freezing 1 second out of every 3 seconds, then every fight you got a fucking 1 out of 3%, one out of 3 chance to experience it.
Yeah.
So
now what's weird though is like I have definitely seen clips that are worse than anything I saw all last wipe. Like that Tiggs clip was nuts, where like he was shooting him in the face so many times. The guy was falling over dead, and then Tiggs got shot by the shotgun, and then the guy rubber banded back behind the wall, and then that was where the guy died. And then he went downstairs and died. After the stream the other day, I went on the couch to lay down. I pulled up Landmark. I watched this live. Landmark was super frustrated because if stuff like that had been happening to him all day. He was on Factory, and he turned the corner with a shotgun, completely naked dude. Boom, boom, boom. Landmark stops shooting. That guy shoots 2 times and then falls over dead. Like the time between Landmark shot, stop shooting, that guy was like pew 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 with his pistol, and then just Landmark had just given up. Landmark was just standing there looking at him, and like 2 whole seconds later the guy was like, ugh. I watched that happen live. You know what I mean? And then like Valiant had some really bad stuff too, and I know a lot of people have. And like I said, it's crazy because like I know absolutely nothing about networking, so I just don't know what to tell people, because like it's hard when you get such a variety of people in chats, people saying I haven't experienced anything. People are saying it's pretty much normal. People are saying it's the worst it's ever been. I don't know like any one of those. When people ask me about it with any one of those opinions, I don't know how long you've been playing Tarkov, what you've actually experienced. Are you educated enough on Tarkov to know? Because a lot of people, when they think it's desync, maybe it was just a second person. So it's like each one of those 3 things flowers into a million things. And then my personal experience is, yes, I have died to some desync this wipe, but like normal stuff where I was like just behind a wall for like a half a second or whatever. Like I've seen some clips, man, where it's like crazy. And then I don't know if this is true. This is just like, you know, sprinkling in some seasoning of the conversation. But I heard that Landmark got so frustrated that he fired up his alt account and then played for like several hours without any issues. So I have no idea on the same server. So like I just have no idea. I have no idea. That's like, you know what I mean? I've got no recommendations. I've got no science, no analytics. I've just seen enough videos to be like, ooh, like I've seen enough clips and videos to be like, that's like bad. Like that's worse than anything I saw in the 12.12 wipe. Like, but I don't know how frequently those things happen.
I'm sure it's, my gut is telling me it's exactly like the movement stuff. How so many people say they experience it. A bunch of other people say that they don't, but it happens all the time, always, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, most of the fights are over so quickly, or you get killed by people that you never see.
Yeah.
So whatever, or when it happens, you blame hit reg, you blame desync, you blame cheaters, you blame lag switches.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, like it's the same thing that would cause someone to run and then run in place.
Yeah.
And then teleport forward is the exact, like that's the Tiggs clip.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just in combat rather than movement.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I saw that every raid.
Yeah.
Back, you know, from 6 months ago to a year and a half ago, in that range, every raid I saw stuff like that. Almost, you know, probably at least half of my fights felt like that. Which I think like over time is partially what made me get less and less and less and less and less confident, you know, because so many times I'd have the perfect angle and the perfect timing and I go to pull the trigger and then it would like stutter.
Yeah.
So then after a while I got trained to just not try to one tap headshot and instead to aim center mass and to just spray.
Yep.
And then with the movement and the recoil changes and all that stuff, then it made it super hard. And probably all the people that hadn't been slapped on the wrist for actually being prepared and for pre-aiming and whatever, they were doing the thing and they just would win the coin flip more often.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know.
Yeah. And like I said, you know, it's not a huge thing. Like neither of us, like we're not going to be able to uncover the issues or figure out what's going on. But it seemed to me like if I were to put money on that, something is different this patch. Like I totally get what you're saying. Like you know, we've said many times, you pulled the veil off my eyes. Once you told me about the movement, I was like, I can't unsee it. And so many people couldn't see it. But like, if that was happening in combat that bad, it would have been also all over Twitter and Reddit and everything last wipe too. Like whatever's happening feels like it's gotten worse because I'm seeing more egregious like examples of the exact same thing, but like way more egregious examples from trustworthy sources and clips all over the place, way more consistent. And it's like, it's weird because like the first few days of the wipe seemed to be fine. Nobody was posting that. So I don't know if it's something, I don't know if something's gotten worse. It's hard because I've played an unreasonable amount since the wipe, and I don't have a single clip of that. You know what I mean? I've probably played 60 hours since wipe day, 60, 70 hours since wipe day last week, and I don't have a single clip to show you like that. So it is hard. It is so subjective that like there's literally a bajillion things. You know, Landmark's freaking router could have popped the circuit, and nobody knows. Like, who knows? But it's like, it's hard because it definitely brings morale down. You know what I mean? Like, it's the whether that's justified or not. You know what I mean? It's like we've seen it before where a few big streamers start saying X. If a few big streamers start saying there's cheaters everywhere, everyone starts saying there's cheaters everywhere. And so, but it's definitely been weird. Like, I definitely haven't seen anything that bad in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I would bet thousands of dollars, like literally thousands. Like, feel free if you want to fucking take me up on this bet. Anybody, not Jesse, but anybody. You want to bet fucking 4 digits that the issues that we're seeing are not people's fucking routers, and it's not people's. It's not agree. ISPs. Yeah. It's a Tarkov issue that it's been in the game forever.
Yes.
It might be way worse than
and
than it has been.
Yeah.
But like,
that's the most likely explanation to me, is that it's existing issues just getting worse than some crazy new desync issue. Like,
all of the people that have been like malding on Twitter, all of the content creators that are a part of like the new generation, they're all malding about the things that I was malding about a year or 2 years ago, that they weren't. They either weren't experiencing it,
or they just weren't playing then.
They weren't playing, or like whatever the reason is, right? Like, what I won't say they weren't talking about it.
Yeah.
And I was, whether they weren't experiencing it or whether they were just like still green around the gills, or when it came to like, they were in the honeymoon phase and they weren't fucking annoyed with the bullshit. That's exactly what it looked like. I saw that and was like, oh yeah, that's 2018, 2019, 2020 Tarkov, and then all these people are like, look what's happened. It's out of nowhere. I've never seen this before, and it's like, okay, well, go watch my netcode video.
I
made a year and a half ago, and
those types of clips,
full of clips like
those types of clips are definitely not things I've never seen before. Just types of things I didn't see last wipe. So that was what was concerning. Is that like, it was like, man, are we going backwards? Because
you didn't see last wipe, but what you mean is you didn't see from other content creators, right? Because you're not experiencing it now.
Correct.
Personally.
Yeah, correct. I'm saying that like, I didn't see a single clip posted on Twitter or Reddit or anywhere being like with Desync that bad last wipe. And in the past 3 days, I've seen 20. So that's not any sort of scientific proof. But it's like, I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Reddit, I played the game a lot, I streamed to 500 people, and in 3 days, I've seen and heard of like, and seen clips of like insane multi-second desync. In 3 days, I've seen more clips than the past 6.5 month wipe. So all I'm saying is like, anecdotally, it seems like something that was already bad seems to be getting worse, or maybe it's only affecting a few people or a certain server region or whatever, I don't know. But like, basically, just long story short, is like, oof, that sucks. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've all experienced this. Maybe not regularly, but I mean, remember the dance of Tarkov? Like a few of those clips were you.
Yes.
And they were.
That was crazy.
Even worse
rubber banding
than the TIG stuff, where it was just like rewind, teleport forward, rewind. You would rewind. Everybody would be like doing this all over the place, like.
And that was 2 wipes ago. Yeah, that was 2 wipes ago. And it always at least felt, once again, anecdotally, that all that stuff like got out at the beginning of the raid. Like all last wipe, you would like every single duo raid I did last wipe, you'd spawn in, you'd run 3 steps, the duo would run in place, and then road runner up, and then it would never happen again. And that never happened in combat with anybody, but it happened every raid of the entire last wipe. It was crazy. So like, and then the Dance of Tarkov stuff too. Yeah, like that stuff was not, that was 2 wipes ago. And once again, that's all I'm saying is that like last wipe felt like it got better, and then we're seeing some of the stuff we've seen before. We were even reminiscing today about like who was around in the like point like 10.5, like the stutters. Like that was like, as soon as, remember all the like wives tales and like rumor mill around like if you loaded 30 different types of ammunition, you would overload the server and you would cause your enemy to like stutter. Like that was like real stuff floating around. It was so crazy because people were trying so hard to rationalize and figure out why.
For all we know, that was fucking like at this point, it's too far removed from the fucking original Shroud of Turin event that like maybe that's, we can't test it now.
No.
Maybe that was the cause. I don't remember.
And the scavs would spawn in, the whole server would like, ugh.
Yeah, I can't remember if those ridiculous things were in my mind because they're so ridiculous,
or they were
or because they were so true, and that's what was so ridiculous. I don't know.
But basically, it's just been floating around, and I just wanted to mention it.
Well, yeah, and then, I mean, the worst part of that though goes back to like kind of what I had tweeted about like part of what makes the community so toxic is this. You take a couple of steps from the game is so shitty to some people in very specific ways sometimes, and then that branches off. There's 2 outcomes, and they're not mutually exclusive. One, it doesn't happen to me, so either it's not happening to you or it's your fault.
Yeah.
Have you checked your router? Have you checked your PC? Who's on your fucking Netflix account? Whatever.
Yeah.
On one side, and then what was the other one? Shit. Oh, and oh god, I can't. Oh, and okay, and then the other side
half of the community
was that's cheaters. Oh, that's lag switches. Oh, that's desync. Oh, that's this. I have an explanation, and it's these 17 things. Or that then branches off into who cares? Fix the cheaters. Who cares? Fix the X. Who cares? Add more content. Who cares? So there's 3, no matter what happens, when shitty, unfortunate things happen in the game that are problematic.
Yeah.
What's worse than the game is the community either gaslighting you, pretending like they're experts when they're not, and trying to explain the situations, or completely changing the subject to other bullshit.
Yeah. Or agreeing with you, but taking it too far. You know what I mean? Being like, oh, that happens to me every single raid, and this it's like, all right, it's not that bad.
Take all the developers to the fucking gulag.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, whoa, like, yes.
This is problematic, and it just proves that Nikita is a money-grubbing piece of shit.
Yes,
blah, blah.
you
like, you
tweeted that thing. Like, one of the responses was like, Nikita right now, and he had all the money. And it was like, that was such a far jump for Tiggs to be like, yo, look at this clip. It's nuts. Is anybody else experiencing it? Because I'm experiencing it all the time. For some, like, exactly. Somebody, like, and not even somebody did. Like, literally go look at freaking Veritas's Twitter. But, like, responses to that tweet were like, get good, you suck. It's cheaters. Nikita just is a money-hungry dude and doesn't care about anything. Yeah, that literally happens to me every single raid. I've never played an effective raid that didn't stutter ever in my life. That's it. Nobody's like,
My favorite is it's gotten so bad this wipe. Desync and audio have to be the highest priority for BSG with all the concrete evidence that's now come out that streamers have been putting out there. Yeah, it's almost like, wow, it's amazing. All of a sudden, the streamers are putting out evidence. No. Now the only thing that's happening is streamers are fucking malding and posting the most cringeworthy clips ever, which rightfully so.
Yeah.
But nobody put out more concrete evidence than I did.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't malding. It was clips and malding and research and whatever, and nothing was done.
You just did it, dude. You were just too early. You were one generation of Tarkov too early. You were malding when the whole community was in the honeymoon phase of Tarkov.
They were all gaslighting
And they
me
were all
when I was in the
gaslighting
malding
you.
phase.
Now you left Tarkov. Everybody in the Tarkov community's malding, so malding is cool.
Dude, I was malding before it was cool to mald. I'm a malding hipster.
Dude,
I'm a maldster.
I'm a maldster. Bro, it's so funny though, because like low key it's kind of true.
But it's just like I remember how I've been welcoming you slowly into the into the like, well, now more people are slowly coming into the, oh, well, now you schmucks have been in just long enough to now you're starting to see how you're going to get gaslit when you experience major issues.
Yeah.
Just wait. And then now everybody else is going to experience the fucking trifecta of, you can't complain about things because they're going to get misunderstood.
Yeah.
They're going to get gaslit, blah, blah, blah. You can't win. And that's why I haven't played Tarkov until I played one raid. I killed the level 1 Timmy. I'm fairly certain he was tabbed out of the game or in his inventory. There was an airdrop. It wasn't really that loud. I looted some things and I just GTFO'd.
But you extracted.
Yeah. I mean, the only noteworthy thing I noticed that was different at all was that plane wasn't way too loud.
Yep.
And the like head bobbing, I actually like.
Oh yeah. It's weird. It's a
not
little
like
abrasive at first.
bobbing.
Yeah, correct.
It's not like the old head bobbing. It's
correct.
It's what happens when you run.
Yeah.
Because human beings have necks that.
Yeah.
You know, and someone had a good comment in chat how your neck is a shock absorber that makes it so that when you're running, your body's going like this, but your viewport is kind of doing this.
Yeah.
And then your brain can help compensate for the rest. But it's so subtle. I like it. It didn't bother me.
I went on that exact journey already. Like, I don't notice it anymore. Like, I really, really don't. And it was the same thing exactly. It's like, that head bobbing feels like a real head bobbing, and head bob in every other game literally feels like take camera, move it up and down with every other step. And this like
some random.
Exactly. This actually weirdly feels like grounded and connected to the character. And because it's so subtle and because it feels so real, I already don't notice it anymore. And it's just like, I don't know. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah. So it's interesting. They made a bunch of changes. They reduced the requirement for Kappa down to 55, which is a good thing, really.
I don't even remember. What was it, 69?
62. It was, 62. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. It was, you could get the collector quest basically just whenever you were done with the quests originally. So you could get it at like 43 or 45. And then they had the one wipe. The only wipe I didn't get it. Would they bring it to 72 or something like that, or 16 or 69? It was something stupid. And then 75% of the way through that wipe, it was 71. And then 75% of the way through that wipe, they dropped it to like 66. But everybody was like, well, I'd already given up. I'm not going to go grind for it now.
I already got it, or I already gave up. Yeah.
Then last wipe, 12.12, they lowered it again to 62. And then this wipe, it's 55. Which, in my opinion, 55 is a perfect level, and they should have just gone from 43 to 55. Like, goodness gracious. 55 seems completely fair. If you're a standard account, Andy, you're going to get the Epsilon way before then, so it feels like a natural progression. You can get Epsilon in your 30s, 40s, depending on when you do Punisher, then grind up to 50s, you get Kappa.
And then now you can join the percentage of people who are like, there's nothing to fucking do, blah, blah, blah. Because now what they've done is they've made the carrot used to be only within reach of the people, quote unquote, who know life the game.
Yeah.
It was only streamers, because only streamers play video games
a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
So now that they've lowered the fucking carrot low enough, well, now a lot more people are going to push themselves past the point where they would have gotten bored or whatever, and now they're going to hit the point where I just got Kappa.
Yeah.
Now there's nothing to do anymore, because partially people are going to want to brag that they got Kappa. while also malding that I am now like Landmark. I got Kappa, and now I'm annoyed that there's nothing to do. I have transcended from this is my third wipe. I'm a veteran, or whatever.
In my opinion, the only missed opportunity here is that they didn't put something at 62. They should have put a bear and a USEC top and bottom at 62. It literally could have been the ugliest one. Like when you think about the Twitch Rivals armband, if you find a Twitch Rivals armband, you can instantly trade that for anything you want in the game. LEDX's, graphics cards, marked keys, whatever, because it's rare and abrasive. You know what I mean? You kill a guy and you see it. It's purple. You know what I mean? It could have made him the ugliest one. But top and bottom, and people, and every single person that grinded for Kappa last wipe when it was 62 would grind to 62 for those things too. Because like, if you're good enough to in a wipe grinds to the mid to high 60s for an item, you really don't need Kappa, and you're only doing Kappa because it's the only thing left to do. So if they moved Kappa but gave you literally anything else to do, you would have done it. You know what I mean? So like more people could have got Kappa. There still could have been a carrot at the end of the stick. It doesn't feel like it takes 6 months of dev time to come up with one additional top and bottom for the Baron USEC. Doesn't affect gameplay at all. In my opinion, that would have been a huge win-win. But all that being said, I am glad that they lowered it to 55. It's such an irrelevant thing, the Kappa. You know what I mean? Like,
what do you mean? It's the most
it's
important
OP.
thing.
It's pay to win somehow.
I mean, well, people they were unironic. I mean, this is a meme, but unironically complaining about the fucking MBSS being pay to win, let alone the Gamma.
Yeah.
Let alone people used to fucking suck dick on the corner for Epsilon container.
Yep.
Yep. That has to be the intro.
That does have to be the intro. Jesus. So Kappa down to 65 is good. It's funny how immediately, by the way, like the cult awakens. It was like Logical Solutions, whatever, the data miners were like, hey, we noticed Kappa got reduced to 55. And like in 13 seconds, people were like, oh, that means that this is going to be a shorter wipe. They have plans to, they're going to wipe really soon with a bunch more content. And I was like, no, dude. I was like, it's been an entire calendar year that we've been asking them to lower the Kappa level. I think they just lowered the Kappa level.
Nikita already has the plans and the foresight and the wherewithal to know exactly how long it's going to be until they...
And this is the camping at the end of the world thing, where one of these times they'll get it right and they'll be like, see, I was... Now, some people were doing it...
Did you finally end up watching that, by the way?
Yeah. Now, some people are just like doing it to kind of mess around or troll or just like to throw stuff out. But like the amount of people that like really, it's like we do every time. Like Nolan gets a really bad rap for this, Nice Guy, where he'll make a video and he'll be like, the format of his videos will literally be like, hey, this is everything that's happening based on everything we know in Tarkov. This is what I think is going to happen. And then he'll be like, now for the like crazy meth head, crackhead stuff that there's no way this is going to happen, but I just like to talk about conspiracies. I think this could happen. And then people will take away from that video that thing is happening. And then they'll start like perpetuating it. And it's so...
Wait, so he's getting shit for that now?
No, I'm just saying
okay.
it begins like a waterfall where then people come into chats and they're like, did you hear this is happening? It's like, dude, how did you get that far in Nice Guy's video and not hear him say that there's like no way this is happening? I just like to theory craft and mess around and have fun. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's so funny. But yeah, dude, immediately people were like, dude, short wipe. Kappa at 55, short wipe. I was like, I really don't think Nikita cares. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Nah, dude. Not every time Nice Guy says anything about Tarkov, it's like when Elon Musk tweets about fucking Dogecoin or whatever.
Yep.
It's all some sort of fucking...
I would have loved to know the numbers on how many people got Kappa last wipe. I want to know, like, they always release the like stats on like how many people died and how much loot was made at the end of a wipe. I want to know like what was the average level? Like, you know what I mean? How many people got to 70 plus? You did get Kappa. You got Kappa before me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I would just love to know that. I would love to know that because once again, like people come in all the time and they see me. So like I've grinded. I've played a lot. I'm level 33. I know there's guys out there that are already in the 40s, but like I'm level 33. So, I've been running like a class 5 armor and a helmet with face shield, and people are like, holy cow. They'll come in and be like, dude, is it even worth starting the wipe? Like if people are already chatted up, and it's like, dude, me and 14 other people are chatted up. Go into factory and 9 out of 10 people you run into are naked with a pistol trying to get their 3rd quest done. Like this is not, but I get it because the streamers tend to be the people that play a lot, have played for a really long time and grind to the top. So if that's all you see, so like I want to know how many people got to what level last wipe, just for fun. Because like if like 86% of the community was level 45 or below 6.5 months in, that would be like a really good data set to be like, dude, that
would mean
fine.
that the Kappa change actually did nothing. Too. Like
it would just maybe incentivize the people at the top to push a little harder. You know what I mean? Not people at the top, people at the top of that 80%. Anyways, it's just interesting stuff. I'd love to know those stats. I mean, I don't think they'll send it to us, but I would just love to know those stats. They've done some other changes. So they've done some ammo changes. So they've buffed some rounds. They've done a lot of like changes to actual rounds, like 7.62 PS, which I would pay $1,000 to just get like an official answer from Battlestate Games on like this question. But like 7.62 PS got buffed. They got like 2 extra pen. So obviously as the guy who coded Battle Buddy, the difference between 30 pen and 32 pen when we're talking about percent chance to pen like, class 3 armor. If it's right at 30, it's like, oh, you've got a chance to tank that shot at class 3 armor. 32 gives you quite the advantage. Like the caliber that was complained about the absolute most for the past 6 months, 7.62 BP is all people complain about. They took the second best ammo, made it better, and didn't change the ability to purchase, the ability to craft, or the ability to find the better ammo. I was like, what? So now I'm just getting one tapped with 7.62 PS from scabs through level 3 face shields, being like, I'm really glad they added that change.
Wait, so what did they change the pen?
It was 30, now it's 32.
Well, so that's not a significant. If it was 28 to 30,
it gets more significant up at the top of like before it crosses over.
and this is one of those things.
Oh, it's
like
35.
Okay.
Let me see. Your Battle Buddy auto updates, right? I'll just pull it up. Anyways, some of the things have been weird. However,
I used to be the fucking expert on this stuff, but I need to update myself.
35.
I don't remember.
So at day one, when you log into a wipe, you can get a round at level 1 proper that does 35 damage and 57 pen. 35 pen, 57 damage. So you can basically 2-tap anything you can find the first 3 days of the wipe. Anyways, they've done some other things that, in my opinion, are pretty good. They moved M80 to level 3 Peacekeeper, making that a little bit harder to get, so 308 doesn't just go crazy. More importantly, they brought back 9mm AP to Peacekeeper 3. You can buy 9mm AP from Peacekeeper 3. Thank God. It's $7 USD a round, and you can only buy 90 of it. But it's back.
That's like fucking triple what 995 used to be when it was overpriced.
Yeah.
When I started playing.
Yeah, but like Tarkov inflation is real. Like $7 7 USD isn't even that bad anymore. You know what I mean? Like M61 is like $18 USD from.
I mean, because the only way you made money from back in the day was selling to traders.
To traders, specifically.
And quest rewards was never much money, so.
And there were a third of the quests. Like, there are so many goddamn quests now.
No, there's probably 10%.
Yeah. There's so many quests now. And then you have stuff like the hideout, Bitcoin farm, being able to craft stuff in there. So, like, the amount of ways to make money, the value of each individual item, all have skyrocketed. So 7 USD isn't that crazy. I do think it's a little bit too pricey for 9mm AP. It's just, once again, it's just that what's the ethos? Like, and the thing that I keep telling people is like, I fall into this trap too, where I'm like, what's the ethos around ammo? What's the vision in the current state of the game? Because once again, just like we used to say with the old M4s and the old HKs, why have 77 guns in your game if one gun is optimal at every range, right? Put the long barrel, the suppressor, it's heavy, it's this bulky thing, but it doesn't matter because it's got high ergo, it's got low recoil, LPVOs are incredibly available, you can use infrared flashlights to reduce your point fire spray, you can do anything, you can do CQC, you can do long range, you can snipe, you can do whatever you want. And we were like, why have any other gun if you can do that? The new that is the Mutant. You know what I mean? 7.62 BP is very, very good, very, very accessible. You can buy all the attachments you need for a Mutant, and it's the best thing. It's like you can reach out and you can tap people from a few hundred meters. You can do all this stuff. And so it's like, why did you nerf 9mm then? Why did you nerf the Vector? Yes, the Vector and the MP5SD and the MPX are nuts close range because of how fast they fire, but you have to be close range. Right? Like, there's a glaring weakness of the caliber, and that is if you put a voodoo on it, you're really going to struggle to be one-tapping people from 80 meters away. So why did we nerf the nerfed gun? Why did we nerf the caliber that actually had a weakness, and we're buffing the caliber that has no weakness? You know what I mean? Like 7.62 PS.
Because more people were malding louder about the ump meta or
the AP, fucking, the Vector meta back in the day, yeah. I guess, but it's like, but then I have to full circle it, and I'm like, I'm at a point where I don't think there is an ethos. Like, they're not looking at it like that. They're not looking at it that big of a picture where they're like, oh, well, this gun suits this role well, and this gun doesn't. They're literally just responding to that. But even that is inconsistent because I couldn't believe that they didn't change 7.62 BP this wipe. Because even though everybody was using it, it was the most complained about thing. The most complained about ammo of the past 6-8 months has been, honestly, it's been the most complained about ammo for the better part of a year. You remember that Christmas gift they gave us? It was 800 rounds of BP or whatever, and the AK? Like, that began the like, yo, BP's a great round, and it is. And what they did this wipe was
at that time though that's when, like, I think that was like the HK meta.
That was the end of the HK meta. So nobody
was complaining about, like, people complained about giving out all this AP ammo, like it was this big thing, but that's when you could also buy as much BP as you really needed at the time. Yeah. So it wasn't the result. It was the idea, the concept of, they just give out all of this stuff. That's why I'm dying more to all these chads that would otherwise be using Fort HK 995. Like, what do you mean?
But last wipe, I would bet everything on the fact that, like, that was the loudest and most complained about thing. Every single Chad, every single PvP guy, every single new player, everybody was dying to 7.62 BP. It was literally everywhere. It was so good. The Mutant's great. It was everywhere. And I still can't believe that in this new wipe, you can still buy it from Proper. What they did was they moved it from Punisher Part 5, that's how you unlocked 7.62 BP from Proper. From every wipe until this moment, it was Punisher Part 5. And then I was seeing stuff tweet where it was like, you don't unlock it from Punisher Part 5 anymore. And everyone's like, oh, they took it from Proper. And then you unlock it with the Quest Grenadier. So, like, somebody actually went in and was like, you know what? You shouldn't unlock 7.62 BP from Punisher Part 5. You should just unlock it from this other quest. So, like,
you want to know what the most
somebody went in there and did that, and you can still craft it, and you can still find it on Rogues. I can't believe it. I truly can't believe it.
No, I mean, there's a couple different things here. Once again, the way that they control supply is by affecting the price.
Yeah.
Not by actually controlling supply.
Which is nuts.
which, I mean, at some point, a year from now, all the streamers are going to be saying what I just said. I'm going to be playing like fucking Hello Kitty Island 7 or whatever.
Yes.
Everybody's going to be like, well, why don't they just change the supply, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe a year after that, that's when they might actually make the change. But
yeah,
to me, the most consistent answer that makes the most sense, that it's the most likely thing, is how it's just the inconsistency of Nikita and the decisions. Like, how many times has he been like, we hear you, we're going to make a change that makes you happy? And on the flip side, how many times has he said, we hear you and it's my game and we're doing it the way that I want,
for sure,
so we're going to do it that way?
True.
So that's why we're going to make all these changes, and then we're also not going to fucking make these changes. Then we're going to make all these changes and we're not going to make these changes.
Yeah.
He's Russian. He loves his fucking 762 by 39.
Maybe
that's probably it.
Maybe he just loves 762 BP and he wants 762 BP meta. Maybe that's it.
Or maybe he doesn't hear about those particular complaints, because I'm sure he doesn't get the same messaging that Tarkov streamer Twitter gets from the Twitch chat. Like, those are two different,
for sure,
like fire hoses of information. And then, the other side of it is that, you have other folks that say, like, my theory is that they're balancing for the future. A new armor hitbox for fire rate will be more viable and the ammo won't be as important. Yeah, I'm sure they thought that fucking deep into it. I'm sure Nikita's 900 IQing into the, fire rate later on when we make all these changes that we probably haven't defined yet and we blah, blah. There's no fucking way, dude. There's no way.
I just think that, like, what I've been saying is I just think that they are ignoring it / just responding to a few things that they want to respond to until it's like done, until the game is done. Like, and in some way I kind of get that, where it's just like not worth completely balancing everything over and over again when they add new stuff and stuff like that. But I just like, it is just pretty surprising. Even everything I've been through with Tarkov and everything I've seen where X gets complained about and then X gets changed and then X gets, we've seen it with the Val. We saw it with the M4s and the HK. We saw it with the 9mm. We've seen it with this ammo. We've seen it with 995. We've seen it. And then to just be like, no way they didn't hear us about BP. And it's like, no, they didn't hear us about BP. Like, it's just surprising.
Yeah. And the reason why we're all here and why chat's saying what they're saying is because of, it's just bizarre how, on one hand, they say, we want to, like, on one hand, they say, there's so many other changes we have to make to the supply and demand of things like ammo and armor and hitbox, and there's all these changes. So, like, we're not going to tweak things. Like, just wait. Things will happen. Yeah. And then 5 minutes later, they're like, give me 1 sec. I'm just going to change this one value by one number. And it's like, why did you change the pen value of like 366 eco by 2?
Yeah. Yes. No, for real.
Like, that's so specific. Yeah. Why? Why?
And a great example of that is the 9mm AP. Like, 9mm AP coming back to Peacekeeper 3, that did not happen with the wipe. That happened today. That happened this morning. Like, what a random thing to do 8 days after the wipe in a technical patch that also listed like server stability and other stuff, to be like 90 rounds of 9mm AP. Like, why wasn't that just in at the wipe if it was a change you had wanted to make for a while? And if it wasn't a change you wanted to make for a while, what compelled you to change it this very Thursday? Like, it's just so interesting. And we don't have the answers.
The more I went from, there's a word that went from, I used like once every 5 years to now I find myself using it like, what's it called? Fucking factorial. I find myself using it fucking 43 times today, 44 times tomorrow, 45 times the next day. And it's not just Tarkov, it's about everything. And that word is inscrutable.
Inscrutable.
Adjective, inscrutable. Impossible to understand or interpret. Everything, whether it's Twitch chat, whether it's fucking investments, whether it's politics, whether it's Escape from Tarkov, everything every day just gets more and more impossible to understand or interpret.
Yeah.
I
actually like this. This is actually probably the most likely scenario, the most likely universe we live in. Somebody said they have a spinning wheel at the office that Nikita will just randomly spin, and whatever it lands on, they change. Like, honestly, that feels like a plausible.
No, you know what? You know what the universe we live in is the one where Nikita was born with hot dog fingers, and every now and then he goes to type stuff in and just accidentally like, oh shit, typo. And then there's like ketchup and mustard that sprays out all over the place, and that kind of gunks it up, and he's like, oh, I'll fix that later on.
Yeah,
that's a reference to the movie that we talked about earlier. Check, go watch it.
Hot dog hands, yep.
That he's got hot dog. Like, that is more like that, and I'm not even joking. That's more like a more likely scenario that he's got hot dog hands, and I don't think I've ever seen his hands before. He's always wearing gloves when he's shooting on Instagram, but I've never seen him take off the gloves and prove that he doesn't have fucking hot dog hands.
Yep.
That's more likely than they're really on the pulse of the performance of the bullets and ballistics and the availability and the economy, and they're really tweaking stuff.
Really turning the knobs. Yeah. Yeah. So, ammo changes, some good, some exciting, some confusing, some absolutely bewildering.
I'm ordering 7-Eleven pizza, just so you know.
7-Eleven pizza?
Wait, have we not talked about this?
I mean, I've had 7-Eleven pizza. That's just like an interesting... I don't think I've ever like been at my home and DoorDashed 7-Eleven pizza.
Well, I mean, it's the only place I can get pizza and like deodorant and like paper plates and milk.
True.
Like, I can
very
go, like,
true.
Walgreens. I can like Uber Eats some shit from Walgreens, but it's not going to be a fresh pizza.
True.
And this pizza's like $6 for a large pepperoni, and it's actually unbelievably good.
Their pizza's good. Yep.
So yeah.
Yep.
That's what I'm getting.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
I look like some sort of fucking plebeian.
Okay, Amazon Prime.
I am Amazon Prime.
Yeah, Amazon Prime just bought 2% of Grubhub, and now 1 year of free Grubhub Premium is a part of Amazon Prime for free. Free deliveries over $12.
Oh God, I almost work for Grubhub. That's why I'm rolling my eyes.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I have a ton of experience with location-based mobile. Which is like exactly what.
When you said you used to work for Grubhub, I really thought you meant as a driver. I forgot that. Yeah, like you used to drive food for Grubhub. No shame in that.
I didn't work there.
I know you said you almost did.
Yeah.
And I thought that meant you like almost started Grubhubbing. You know what I mean? I just forgot.
I mean, fuck
the
maybe.
Software dev part of it.
I could IRL stream while also like driving for Uber Eats.
Dude, that has to be a thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Anyways, get your 7-Eleven pizza. I hope it's delicious.
The problem with Grubhub, though, last I checked at least, Grubhub and a few of the other ones, is that like no matter where I ordered from, there was always something where I'm like, okay, I don't want cheese on this sandwich, or I want to buy, but I want like cream and sugar in my coffee, and for some reason there was like no special instructions. There was no way to customize with, whereas Uber Eats has like it's always got all the things I need, so I've just always had Uber Eats.
For sure.
And it also has priorities, so I can pay $2 to basically say, you don't have anything else in the car. You're not picking up anybody else's shit. You're going straight there and you're driving. So yeah,
that's actually kind of cool.
That's worth the $2, not to have to fucking worry about.
That's kind of cool. Tarkov land. Oh yeah, I don't know if I want to go down the rabbit hole again. I'm just like, it's a very cyclical thing for me. We have collectively mauled about this many times, but I have had it up to here with the AI in this game, dude.
Yep. Right on time. The Veritas echo, the 365-day echo, where it's like, the AI sucks. And then it comes back around.
Dude, well, I mean, we talk about it all the time. We talk about, but like, dude,
I'm just glad someone else is bitching and not me.
Yeah, no, I got
I've forgotten how bad the AI was until you mentioned it. So,
dude, I will let you know, bro. It's just like, and this exactly like the conversation we had about the Desync or whatever, where like you can't make a comment on it without every reaction. You know, I'll die. The other day, I died to Killa. I was the 5th time I had tried to do the quest where you go into Interchange and get the books from the library. There's one upstairs, there's one downstairs. It's the 5th time I died with the books. We were on our way out of Idea to go to Railway, and Killa kills me, and I couldn't even see him. And I was mad.
Whatever you did it wrong.
I know, I was mad. And then somebody's like, and I'm like, the AI sucks. And then some people are like, no, it's fine. You should have done this. Some people are like, yeah, it's dog trash. The fact that they haven't fixed it means they're just money hungry devs. Some people are like, well, you know, I love it when people are like, name a game with better AI. I'm like, name a game with AI. It's got better AI. Name a game with AI in it. It's got better AI. Like, name a game with better AI. Dude, that response is unbelievable to me. It's insane.
Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
Like
GoldenEye, bro. Like, unreal. So like
Space Hotel. Oh my God.
So like so all the things and then that sends me down, you know, a tremendous spiral of like, let me mauled about this. Like, I love this game. I talk about this game all the time. I defend the devs all the time. Like, this is just not up for debate anymore. Like, the AI is bad, and it's not, especially I remember watching a lot of those, I don't remember the conventions. I remember when you were doing research for your most recent AI video, like, you sent me a lot of those like speeches that you cut, like where people were talking about the Splinter Cell blacklist. Yep. And like you would use parts of that and you sent me the whole speeches. And I remember watching all that being like, this is fascinating. You know what I mean? Like, it is just truly like not good game design. Like, the amount of times just by a regular AI scav, I have been moving through the map, I hear Swazile, and before I as a gamer have the ability to like assess the situation, where did I hear that from? Where is he positioned? Today I died. I'm telling you, it was almost a shooter born in heaven shot. It had to be 80 meters away from a scav. His very first bullet, 7.62 PS, hit me in the face and I fell over. His very first bullet.
Unlucky, dude.
And it's like, and it's like, how can anybody defend that that's like a valuable experience to the game? You know what I mean?
Sometimes you just fall on your fucking wiener in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I must have left hand peeked him, dude. That's been my favorite. But like, you know what I mean? So
don't left hemisphere peek the scabs. You're on the wrong hemisphere, bud. What servers are you on? You're not on NA servers? Oh shit, yeah, wrong hemisphere. You got a right hemisphere.
Don't left side servers them, bro. Don't left server peek them. Dude, unreal. So like, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy how like simple, in my opinion, because then one of the most common responses were like, if they're easy, then they're farmable. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, on one hand, I think it's perfectly okay if scavs are farmable. Like, I really don't want...
That should be the point.
I really don't want his no butt stock, 366 AK with no dust cover. That's 27 durability. I'm really not in the mood to farm those. So, like, when that argument of, like, they shouldn't be farmable, yes, they should, actually. Maybe not rogues and bosses, but scavs kind of should be. And like, just once again, the amount of rules that they don't play by. So when I died to Killa, he was when you go into Idea, if you come in the very front, revolving doors of Idea, you go up the stairs. If you go left there, you can go up more stairs to that like weird balcony thing that like nobody ever goes on. He was underneath that, and I heard him yell. And at the same time, I heard a scav yell behind me. So now I'm pinched. And I didn't know either one was Killa. I just thought they were both AI. So I'm going to turn around. And I turn back and we watch the clip back and we like screenshotted it. And Killa is prone underneath the thing. And he shot me through a bush, through both panes of glass of the railing and hit me, shot one time, and I took, 3 bullets of a Golnik to the thorax. And I was like, that man has a helmet on where 90% of his vision is restricted. He's prone, and he shoots me, and he hits the first 3 shots through 2 panes of glass in a bush. Like,
can you imagine? What? Imagine wearing that helmet, going prone, and lifting your head up.
Yeah. And trying to aim with an iron sight RPK. Like,
through a fucking envelope.
Through 2 panes of glass.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like it's just that doesn't make sense. And it's so, like, it's just so indefensible to me. You know what I mean? Like, I would just so much rather, like, Killa be farmable than that. You know what I mean? Like, there was actually a time where Killa didn't always spawn with his Killa armor. Like, he spawned sometimes with the, like, floral armor that was class 4. And
I remember that.
Dude, it was like that. That was the wipe where Killa was, he only spawned in one spot and he was stun lockable. You could, the actual best way to get tracksuit was to go in with a Keter and shoot him in the legs because it was cheap and it was stun lockable. And they only did that for like a month or 2 and then they reverted that change. And that's like the most ridiculous thing to me. Like, Tagilla doesn't always spawn with his class 6 armor. Sometimes he spawns with a Strandhog. Gluhar doesn't always spawn with his M1A. Killa doesn't even always spawn with his RPK. Sometimes he spawns literally with a TT. That's it.
Yep.
Like, is it not so much more fun to play the game when he's a little bit more farmable and just doesn't always have the best stuff in the game? He can always have his helmet. He never no one uses the helmet. You know what I mean? Everybody that farms Killa sells the helmet. It's 180,000 rubles, and who wants to wear that thing? Like, their ammo doesn't matter. You could give him 545 PS, PP, or BP most of the time, and sometimes a Golnik and BS,
well,
and he would still kill you. Like, he could be farmable.
Is that you're saying the only reason why you're saying farmable is because
actually
there's 2 ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, you're right.
There's he is so utterly broken. There's no way they can do anything other than make him stupid and farmable.
Yes, and you're so right. And
which is the sad part.
Yes, and I didn't preface that. I literally have said that exact same thing several times, and now I look like the dum-dum. I was saying that basically to say the worst possible case scenario where literally they make him so dumb is honestly, in my opinion, better than what we have. So that's what I'm saying. And I should have prefaced it with it, damn it. But like, yeah.
No, I know. We've talked about this before.
There is literally an infinite gray area between what we have now, which is absolutely stupid and broken and hard, and easy and farmable. And anywhere in that gray area would be better than what we have now. But whenever you say kill is too hard, the very first thing, anyone in chat or in a YouTube comment says, well, if you make him any easier, people will just farm him. And so it's like
they say he's really, really easy. And then that's the person chatting who just watches Landmark and who has 4 raids.
Yeah.
And they're living vicariously through their favorite fucking Chad that they also simultaneously complain about.
Yeah. And so it's like, even if they did the worst thing, that's better than what we have now, in my opinion, with just a tiny little bit of balancing on the gear that's available. And they could do a million other things other than that worst thing. And any one of those things, like they couldn't mess it up, really. It is messed up. We are in the darkest timeline, right? Where it's just like, it's so bad. It's so egregiously terrible. Any change, including them fumbling the ball and making him too easy, in my opinion, is better. Because it's just insane. I don't know.
They don't want that. Why have a boss
that you can kill?
If we're just like, he needs to make you mauled. Yeah. Like you said, like, isn't it infinitely more fun? Who the fuck cares? LOL, Kek W, Tarkov isn't meant to be fun. I love how my video, the title of my video, has now been turned into a meme that is literally like like accidentally, like people, nobody ironically flipped it to like make it be this thing. It was literally like my when I made the fucking video, you know, Tarkov's not meant to be fun. The what it means now is the brain dead, like unironic, stupid interpretation of the actual like real meaning that I talk about in the video.
Yeah.
It's extremely sad and depressing, and yeah, we're in the darkest fucking timeline.
Yeah. And it's just
very true.
It is such a like they have made the AI, especially boss and rogue AI, harder as the game has progressed. Like they've continually given them faster reaction time, better aim, worse durability guns. Like they have like made them harder, but every single attempt at that has been trying to top off the oil in a car that has no gas. Like they're just not even in the same hemisphere of what the problem is. And now here's the big kicker. I acknowledge that the real problem is a hard problem to fix. You know what I mean? But but that doesn't mean trying to put another quart of oil in is gonna make it better. Like the changes haven't done much except frustrate people more. If you knew how to kill Killa, you still know how to kill Killa. If you knew how to farm the rogues, you still know how to farm the rogues. Every time they give them better, it's like the problem is that we can abuse where they see and where they aim. So if you give them better accuracy at a longer distance, I can still sit in this rock and know that the rogues aren't going to see me and I can still kill them. So like what you haven't affected my ability to farm them. You've affected everybody else's ability to take them on in a fair fight. And we literally were like chiseling, you know, like Grand Canyon is a natural forming thing from water over millions of years.
It's the Great Flood. You can't fucking convince me otherwise.
In the Tarkov community, we are creating Grand Canyons in all of our minds that's how this game is played. That's how you're supposed to kill the AI. That's how you're supposed to get the good loot. That's how you're supposed to do it. We're pushing people into cheese whiz cans and we're just cheesing everything. We're cheesing the bosses. We're cheesing the rogues. We're cheesing the raiders. And it's easy. And every time they make the raiders harder, it doesn't make us harder. It make it harder to cheese it. It makes it harder for everybody if you don't know how to cheese it. So they're just it's just the craziest fixes to the non-problem, and it doesn't affect the people that can abuse the mechanic.
Dude, okay, I gotta ask, because I know like 110% that you totally understood and agreed with so many, like especially the AI video.
Yeah.
Something has to have changed, though, in between now and then. Has it just been even more codified into your head now? Because you're literally basically quoting the video.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah. Well,
what I want to know from like whatever happened that made you go from like totally, dude, like absolutely right, to now you're the one with the megaphone standing on the podium.
What happened is time. Because like when that video came out, I could at least give the benefit of the doubt that like they saw the video, they're going to learn from the video. I hadn't played the game as long as you, so I was like, maybe they're still, you know, developing the solution, right? They're developing the solution. But that was a year and a half ago. And it was time plus more oil being added to the car. Like time and the fact that since that video, they've actually added changes to the game that have
increased the burning.
That have made the exact reasons why you said the AI are bad worse, and made the ability to cheese them not any easier or harder, just the same. Just the same. So like that's what's got me in that place where it's like it's just unreasonable. It's unreal. And there have been a few moments like that where it's just like getting harder and harder to
defend,
stay positive about. Yeah. And that's the thing. And like the thing is once again, what some people will hear as I say this is like Jesse is now team BSG sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can say and stand by everything I just said, and I would give money to say that into Nikita's face. Like, I would love to ask him about some of those things and explain my perspective on the game. And I can say all that and mean all those things, but at the same time, I can also have an understanding that I don't know what I don't know. Software development's hard. I don't know how to code a game. I don't know how to code AI. So it's like when people quote that stuff to me, it's like, I'm not, once again, things can be two things. Like, what I said was the AI sucks. I'm not saying the AI sucks and there's no excuse. I'm not saying the AI sucks and there's no way to make it better. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's just bad. And so, like, I don't know, man. It is getting, from my perspective, from our perspective, from the place we sit, it is getting harder and harder to defend. Yeah, maybe it'll be better next wipe. Yeah, like, you know, maybe it'll, because, and another great example is this. I don't know that this is true. Back when you had your 2-hour conversation with Nikita about AI and you made that video about it, you didn't put the whole 2 hours in. You did that. He said, we have some changes we want to, in direct response to you bringing up a lot of the things that I just said to him. We have some changes we want to do the rogues. We just want to wait until the bosses come in. Do you know what those changes were? Okay. I don't know that the changes that have happened in 12.12.3 are the changes he was talking about. But if I were to assume that the changes that happened, the same wipe that the bosses came, was those changes he was referring to, do you know what it was? Rogues spawn less. That's it.
That can't be it.
But that's all that's happened. The rogues have the same AI. But now it used to be a 100% chance that 2 would spawn on building 1, 3 would spawn on building 2, 2 would spawn on building 3, 4 would spawn down below building 2, and sometimes 3 would spawn by the helicopter. That was 100% the entire wipe.
Yeah.
Now they're all just like a coin flip. I've literally gone into a lighthouse raid and had 2 rogues spawn in the whole water treatment plant.
Yeah, rather than stitch up the wound, rather than try to cauterize it, rather than even just taking the fucking clotting factor powder and putting it on and then gauze. Now they grabbed a chewing gum out of their mouth, some fucking grass from there, and they just stuffed it in there and like, I don't know, we'll figure out the bleeding later. Like, and the thing is, it's like, even worse than they could have. The game would have been better if they changed none of the things that they changed, and they just turned their accuracy down to 10% from 99%, and their perception down from whatever. And then it would have just been infinitely
then a few very minor tweaks to just what's in their loot pool. None of those things appear to be hard development things to me. You know what I mean? Like turning those,
because they're not,
those things down and then being like, okay, well, if they're going to be easier to kill, maybe they never spawn with 762 BP and they don't spawn quite as often with hex grids and Gen Force. That really would have been all it took. You know what I mean? To give us not a perfect solution, but a much better solution, a much better Band-Aid. Like, that's the thing, is like, you want to know why? You want to know why I'm got the megaphone now? Is because we've had this wound for a while. We've had this wound, and what it feels like is instead of putting a Band-Aid on it until I get to the hospital, they jammed a ballpoint pen into it. Like, that would help. Yes, if we want new,
it's gonna stop.
If we want
the bleeding.
If we want new AI, if we want completely new AI that communicate with each other and take cover and move to different things, that I can understand the answer being that takes time, Jesse. That takes time. That takes time. But until then, give us a Band-Aid, bro. And that Band-Aid can just be that they're easier. Like, you obviously don't care about the economy too much. The whole point of so many of the things we're testing is you introduce it, you kind of break the economy with it a little bit, but that's okay because we're testing it. Like, give us a Band-Aid. They're shoving a knife into an open wound instead of covering it until we get to the hospital to put stitches on it. And that, I don't want to sit up here and maul. Like, I love BSG. I love Nikita. I love this game that they've made. But like, and they don't owe me anything, but I would just pay $10,000 to sit in front of Nikita and ask him that question. Like,
I can arrange that.
Don't you think that this, I will outline scenario A. Don't you think that this is a not permanent solution, but a better solution that makes more people want to play your game for longer? Like, his
answer was, I asked him that exact thing. That exact thing. And that's when he had the answer. You go back and watch the video. You guys can go back and watch the video where I interviewed Nikita where I think the thumbnail is like, it's just not good enough or whatever, and it has a picture of Nikita. His answer was like, we'll see what happens. We don't want to make any changes until after we introduce the new bosses. Because, and then, so here's the thing, though. As it is the case with all of these things, going back to, I was going to mention this with the netcode discussion, with the ballistics discussion, it pops into my head and then I forget it. Not only do you have to convince, like, you're way ahead of yourself in that you think that giving a solution to Nikita is what you need to do. I very often don't think he's even aware of or convinced of the problem to begin with.
Yeah.
You know how many times I've gone and I'll show him like a clip of the desync. Yeah. And he'll ask me like my router information.
Yeah. And that,
like, that, it demonstrates that he doesn't like, that he's like, what do you mean?
He's a CEO, he's a COO. He's got, that's a very fair point. It's not Nikita, it's BSG. You know what I mean? He just ends up being the butt of it so often. Yeah. But I just don't know who do I convince? How do I do it? That's not even
really the point, though. So to speak, like, it, I mean, ultimately it all comes down to him, right? If he's unaware of, I don't expect him to play the game, right? Yeah. But like, he should be aware of these things, and if it's not, then it's a major breakdown in all kinds of systems, but ultimately he's the one in charge, so you know, he's responsible, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a problem when we send him clips of the desync or whatever, and I would feel much better if I was like, hey, here's a clip, and he was like, ooh, yeah, you know, we know all about it. It's a thing to work on. We're really sorry. We're going to fix it. These are the plans. Yeah. Even if it's like, we can't fit it in now, but we're going to fit it into the next thing. It's like, cool. But when he's like, we haven't heard much reports about this. Yeah. Like the stuttery movement. Yeah. He didn't hear reports of it. Yeah. When I was having issues with the internet, it was he didn't hear reports of it, and then after weeks of like bombarding him with information and as much as I could and videos and clips, he was like asking me about my router settings, and it was like, you're either not listening, you're in denial, or like the metaphor is you're sitting there screaming, bleeding from your fucking carotid artery or whatever, right? And he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, don't worry, we'll get food on the way home. You're like, no, I'm bleeding to death back here. Yeah. He's driving, and he's like, we'll take care of it when we get home. It's like, no, don't go home. Go to the fucking hospital. Yeah. I'm bleeding. And he's like, here, fine. And he hands back the newspaper, and you're like, what? No, this isn't it. Like,
100%. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. And I just like, I don't know, man. And what's hard is because, once again, major communication breakdown. I don't know. Like, I know. So, like, if I'm not mistaken, was not like the emissary program basically for this point. It was like, we can use content creators and integral parts of the community to put out feelers, and then they can kind of like report back to like the emissary team leaders at BSG, like what people are thinking. Like, I know the emissaries, man. I know a lot of them. Like, you know what I mean? Geeks is an emissary. We and Geeks talk about this.
I was one of them.
Yeah, me and Geeks talk about this stuff all the time. Like, it's not... It honestly, once again, I don't want to eat my foot here by saying this and getting it wrong, because I'm not a game developer, but it kind of feels like you have to like try to not see these things as problems. Like what am I supposed to do? Like, is everybody that plays the game supposed to submit a bug report when a scav one taps them? Nobody's going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we should.
Capital Y, capital E, capital P. Yep.
But like, how would I know that? Like, not I, Jesse, but like, that's what I'm saying is like, if I shoot a guy and he becomes Godzilla and eats me, I'm going to report that as a bug, right? If I shoot a guy...
You know, the best part is I guarantee that they don't log anything that's going to be useful for them to fucking figure it out anyway, maybe. So it's a waste of time.
But I'm saying, if you're playing this game, a bug to report, you know what I mean? Like, I bought something and it deleted my freaking System 32. I'm going to report that bug. A scav one tapping me? That's a hard game. Like, what? Like, everybody told me when I got into this game, it was the hardest game ever. Like, I guess that, like, who is gonna, like, even if you and me shout it from the mountaintops at every podcast and every stream, we're gonna reach 0.01% of the community and educate them that, like, scavs one tapping you shouldn't happen, report that bug. Like that is not on the community, in my opinion. That thing, other things that happen that are buggy, yes, it's on you. You bought into a beta game, you should report more bugs. But like Killa killing you in a frustrating way, nobody's gonna think to report that as a bug. I don't even know.
So nobody is. They're just gonna mauled about it, and then people are gonna gaslight them, and then other people are gonna agree, other people are gonna disagree. None of it's ever gonna get to Nikita.
That's what I'm saying. Is that
so then someone like me takes 2 months to make a video, then that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
We're in the darkest possible timeline.
That's what I'm saying.
Enjoy your escape from Tarkov. A year from now, I really genuinely fucking hope that it's what everybody wants it to be. But you know what? I'm gonna fucking, what's the saying? Shit in one hand, wish in the other, and see which one fills up faster. That's why I'm not playing the game.
No, I know,
right?
I know. Listen,
because I've just been banging my head up against the wall for slightly longer than you have, and I'm sick of having a headache.
Yeah, no, and obviously we aren't trying to convince each other of anything here. Obviously we're on the same page, but it's just like, but that's what I'm saying with, like, with this specific thing with the AI, it really just feels like you have to, like, be looking away and closing your eyes. You know what I mean? Because, like, I don't know.
The question is, does he? Is he closing his eyes, or are the people who are filtering the information hiding him from it, or is he aware of it, and that's the intent? Like, that's the intent.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's unlucky, and you're gonna get unlucky.
For sure. And
now, for me, when I made my game design AI video, one of the things and when I've talked about this before, the thing I've basically said is scavs should have a fucking 0% chance. Literally, hard coded in. Shot number 1, 2, and 3 should be 0, 0, 0, and then you can start it off at 20% and go up from there.
I agree with you.
I don't care if it's unrealistic. I don't care. That's game design, where they're basically saying, like, one of the things they used to do, and it was never on purpose, but it was actually like an accidental good thing, was they go Shwajili for 3 seconds before they would shoot. And they were accidentally doing the thing where they were telegraphing that, like, I'm attacking you, get ready. And then they attack you. You know, like,
I completely agree with you. It's
gotta be brought to someone's attention. That person needs to pass it to Nikita. Nikita needs to understand and identify it as an issue, and then decide whether or not that's the intention, and then decide if it is not the intention, decide what the priority is, and then decide how to tackle it. And each one of those is a binary branch off on a tree, where one of those things, the right way that 99% of the people would agree with, if I said, yes, it's a problem, Nikita needs to know about it, the way he fixes it temporarily right now is by just making them fucking terrible. There's literally no way. It's a fucking exponentially unlikely scenario that we hit that branch. If we're lucky, we get to the branch where it's like, yeah, it's a problem, but we're going to fix it by making it so that they
2022 or whatever.
We're going to fix it a year from now, but it's going to be a 360 fucking go prone stand up no scope before they no scope you. You know, so
it's just like, it's crazy. I mean, I completely agree with you. I think they should have a 0% chance to first shot headshot you, especially AI scavs. That's the most ridiculous thing. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine playing World of Warcraft where, like, every single ad around every boss had the ability to one shot kill you in almost anything you had. Like, I've had Magna Buck to the stomach. You can get one pumped if you're close enough with slick wrist T on, bro, by an AI scav. It's like, bro, no shot should that be a thing. And another reason why I've been on this again is because, like, I haven't fought the new bosses yet, but I've watched some people fight them, and I'm already over it. Like, I have not even fought them, Veritas, and I'm over it. You're
like, I'm not interested in fucking.
I was watching Desmond. I peeped into Desmond's stream. He spawned into a lighthouse raid, ran 14 feet, heard a chorus of yelling, and got shot at a bunch, hid behind a box. He was like, is that the boss? He peeked. Big Pipe was running. He shot Big Pipe up. stood up, tried to assess the situation. He was on Lighthouse. You know how there's like the top chalet with all the like treasure loot, and then there's the bottom more blue chalet. He was around that bottom blue chalet behind a box because he had spawned with no hardcover, ran 12 feet to the only hardcover he had, which was a box. He shot Big Pipe. Big Pipe didn't die. He tried to assess the situation. You're looking at, picture the scene in your mind. You're looking at this chalet. It's raining. One of the random many windows of the chalet breaks, and it's Bird Eye with an RSS. Boom, he's dead. Where's the realism?
Also, they just Control C, Control V Sturman and put a new skin on him.
Like, what's the real thing to do there, right? Like, how do you assess that situation? What
the real thing is that you just die because life sucks. What
window do I look at first? What was the priority window? And he was so frustrated, and I couldn't even be like, dude, calm down. It's like, that's you spent 8 minutes kitting up, queuing in, you spawn in, and it's like you lost the which window do I look at game. Like, and the thing is, he wasn't even looking at a window because Big Pipe has a freaking semi-automatic grenade launcher 20 feet in front of him. So it's like, I'm just over it. Like, I'm just over it. Like, these new bosses are so cool and they are just awful. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like complete missed opportunity. Nobody's having fun. We're 8 days into the wipe and there's already a strategy on customs. You want to know what that strategy is? It's exactly what you think. Throw a grenade, get them to aggro, go into crack house. They will only come in one door, right side peek that door, shoot them both in the head while they are running, loot them, ignore Bird Eye, get out with the loot. That's the custom strategy. And now that's really hard, right? Like, it's really hard. You're engaging with the grenade launcher. You're engaging with their communication.
Troubleshooting, problem solving. You're a tactician.
Exactly.
You're a fucking genius.
Throw a grenade. They're gonna come in this door.
Backwards long jump to get negative speed to clip through the fucking door to get the 70 stars before Bowser can. It's all realism.
So it's like, it's just like, what is this? Like, why? Why add this? Like, why even add them into the game if it's just gonna be like this? To fight them and get a 20 durability MCX and a 80 durability grenade launcher with 12 rounds, like.
Dude, it's more cool shit. What are you talking about? I don't understand. It's more cool shit.
I hate this, man. And I know you do too. Like, literally, I am literally saying all the things.
No, I love this now. I love this now because now the most level-headed, reasonable person that everybody loves is the Venn diagram used to be like this. It's like, I'm picturing that's the scene from, what is this fucking episode 4 Star Wars where there's like the Death Star and it's like, woo, woo, where like the circles are overlapping.
Yeah.
That's Jesse and Veritas. Yes.
Let the
hates fill you. Dude, and I hate that I love it, but it's like,
no, I know. And I've
been the only one screaming from the mountaintops, and it's good to have somebody next to me.
For sure. And just like 18 months ago when I was, fresh, happy-go-lucky, and you were screaming from the mountaintops, you were like, I hate this. I don't want this. I don't want it to be this way. I don't want to be this critical. It's just, this is just how it's happening. Like, that's how I feel now, where it's like, I hate it, man. I don't want to be that way. And I do a pretty good job of like, not caring when I'm live, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not whatever. But like, podcast is like the real talk, and it's just like, I'm so frustrated, and I'm so done with it, and I don't know how to defend it. And honestly, I would be happier. I would be happier with like Nikita being like, hey, we've been hearing a lot of stuff about the AI. This is 100% by design. Get good, nerds. I'd be happier in that universe, because then I would just be like, well, he doesn't like. Well, it's bad game design, but he wants bad game design, so I'll either play another game or I'll just get used to it. But we don't. We get this like, changes to AI, and then we get the game once again telling you to be immersive. The game, like, that's the frustration, is that like the narrative and the experience are different. That's the thing. It's like, why did you put a literal paragraph in the patch notes about how cool of a communication system these 3 bosses have, where they talk to each other and they can even talk to the rogues if they're on Lighthouse, and they do, like, You dedicated a paragraph to that.
You can't test that if you insta-die.
Yeah, the narrative is that they want this to be a battle, a drawn-out battle that they can do these things, but the experience is that. So it's like, that's why I'm frustrated. If the line item was like, the bosses are here, they're crazy, get good if you want to fight them, then it's like, oh, this kind of lines up with the experience. At least I hate it, but it lines up with what they say they want. But what they say they want is cool, immersive, slow, tactical battles, and we don't get that. We get one tapped from regular AI scavs, freaking Tarkov hobos with SKSs, and it's like, I don't know.
Now you know. Now you know why I asked him all of this shit was strategic. The reason why I was like, Nikita, explain to me what a scav is. And I wanted him to say they're like drunken, no experience hobos, because now at least nobody can be like, oh well, they're all ex-military or whatever. I needed him to say it to dig his own grave prematurely. You know what I mean? Like, and here's the thing, like, there's so many aspects of game design that they don't consider. You think Nikita plays fucking Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering and understands the concept of power creep in games? I bet you that's the idea of like power creep probably has never even come across. I mean, maybe not. Maybe I'm just being cynical, but like every time they add a boss, it's got 300 more HP and he's got higher armor and he's faster and he's got better gear, but he's even less fucking possible to remotely see before you die, let alone kill. Yeah. And that's the only way that they know how to introduce things is by it's like introducing them and turning it up to 13 and 14 and 15, because we've already been up to 11 when they added Killa.
It's like, what's the most known fact about stormtroopers in Star Wars?
They have excellent aim.
They have terrible aim. Why? Because the movie would suck if Luke died 18 minutes into the first shot. It's literally like a cultural phenomenon that we accept because I want to see cool laser battles in Star Wars, but I don't want the main character to die 8 minutes into the film. This is like, if you can't understand that concept and you think the AI is fine or it's just supposed to be hard, like, that's like,
dog, that's Star Wars. This is real life.
Yeah, that's lasers. This is real life.
This is real fucking life, my dude.
Like, it's just 101 storytelling and immersion and fun and engagement. It says you have to freaking allow the subject, whether it's the main character of a movie or the player in a game, to engage with the world. And I can't do that when I'm getting one-tapped by everything I see except the real players.
But dude, they added, I don't like, I know you're upset, but they added
3 new guns.
And when you run on wood, it sounds different, and when you drop a gun, it makes a noise. So like, and honestly, I'm having fun. This is only my first wipe ever, but like, I don't see anything wrong with the game. It's fine, dude.
I needed to do that.
So don't rain on my fucking parade. I'm excited that they added like marshmallows, or I don't know. I couldn't think of anything as stupid and mundane as whatever it is they did actually.
Dude, I needed to do that. Thank you for letting me
I needed you to do that. I needed you to do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, I know all the chatters already in the YouTube comments that are, Veritas has made Jesse salty and blah blah blah. And I really used to love the podcast, but now it's just become complaining and it's so negative. And normally it's about Veritas, and someone's going to be like, well,
come at me now, ruined. You fell off.
Once again, there are there's a lot of other great Tarkov podcasts that are like the Tarkov podcast. This is the Pogcast, which by definition is whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, 100%.
And if that means one of us wants to be happy about Tarkov, one of us wants to be happy about Trackmania, both of us want to maul about Tarkov, both of us want to fucking love Tarkov, both of us want to talk about fucking Skate 4 on Xbox. Yeah. It doesn't matter. We are gonna fucking talk about whatever we want to talk
100%.
about. And if you're not hip to that, get off the fucking bus because you didn't buy a pass. It was free,
dude. 100%. 100%. I felt that earlier where like the first thing we talked about in this episode was the free solo and everything everywhere. And I was like, I'm like waiting to just like respond to those comments and be like, I don't care what, like, if you're like, where's the Tarkov? Like, I don't care. Like, you find it or leave. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. All right. So the AI sucks, but the game is still fun sometimes. Sometimes it isn't. Tarkov, there's not a whole lot else. Freaking stamina. I feel like they reduced the amount to be overweight again, which has been brutal.
Sick. I tried to jump up onto an overturned porta potty earlier, and that was just like I would have more luck free soloing fucking El Capitan without than my fucking operator would to not even jump up onto, but like let me fall over and roll onto the porta potty. It's literally fucking navel high, you know, but I'm like all the while like making the most fucking noise possible.
Yep.
You know, so it's literally like,
yep, but it's a realistic game.
I went to go
engage
in some fights and I couldn't, and I just ended up being like, fine, fuck it, I'll go play with my fucking GI Joes in the corner. I guess you don't want me to play the game, you know, like
it's interesting. It's interesting because then everybody just gets to like max strength faster because everyone's overweight all the time. You know what I mean?
Constantly like, jumping because you need to jump 600 times. To
my
over your own dick.
My strength is like level 12 or 13. I think my endurance is level 3. Like it's just like, but whatever. I do have confirmation that the air filter is still broken. Rengar did a video on it. Because he's been powering through, so he put a video on YouTube. He did testing without the air filter on. Online raids, man, not offline raids. No skill point bonus, and
yeah, it's known issue.
It's crazy. It's crazy because with a wipe, you had the opportunity to just like lock that module or remove it or fix it or do literally anything other than allow people to pay 4 million rubles.
Too much work
to do it.
Nope, not a priority. Or one of these days, someone's gonna mention it and he's gonna be like, "What? What do you mean?" Broke.
Yeah, well, that's...
And you're gonna be like, wait, what? We thought you know what? What?
No, I mean, that's the...
I was like, nobody told me.
Yeah. So that's just... sucks. But... Yep. Yep. What's weird, though, man, is that, like, I truly have had a lot of fun this wipe. It's just that like the things that get me, I have such a shorter fuse for. Like, you know what I mean? Like the AI, you know what I mean? When it like when I died to kill it like that on the 5th time, I was just like, why am I here? You know what I mean? It's just like, but like
mentally prepare yourself for the fact that you're gonna start your stream, and maybe you've gotten here before, maybe not, but you start your stream and you're like excited, right? In the first raid of the day, you like hear some gunfire, you're like, oh, sick. You get one tapped by a scav from fucking 300 meters away, and you're instantly like, you're reminded of all the shit we just went over, and it instantly goes from 0 to 60, and people are gonna be like, what do you expect being out in the open? And why are you overreacting? Like, it's unlucky. Like, you should not be as upset as you are, like, because you were unlucky and you were out in the open. So, like, what do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
And have that be the first raid of your fucking day that's 10 hours long, and welcome to fucking Veritas Island. You are the weakest link. Welcome.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It, obviously, it's got so much potential. So certain things have been super fun. Questing has been going smooth for the most part. Like it's been early game guns are fun, early game fights are fun. But yeah, it's just like I don't know, man. I really don't know. I just don't know what like to even say anymore. It's been 2 years of the podcast, me being like, yeah, maybe with the next patch, yeah, maybe with the next Unity upgrade, yeah. It's like, and any one of those things could happen for sure. But I just like I'm at the end of my rope with that. It's like I don't know, man. I don't know if they're ever gonna fix the AI. I don't know if it's Unity 2022, Streets of Tarkov, or frickin' this is it, bud. You know what I mean? Like along for the ride.
and it's gonna be you're to the point where you're as exhausted and cynical as I am. But the one thing that will always, at least for me, and you're a better man than me, so maybe you'll be able to avoid it, but is when something like that happens and you're like, okay, I'm going to move on, whatever. And then someone in chat is going to say the thing that's either I'm going to gaslight you, I'm going to change the subject to the wrong thing, I'm going to blame it on the wrong thing, or I'm going to say it's a conspiracy theory, or I'm going to tell you it was your fault.
Yeah.
It's easy and it's hard enough to have to be like, the worst thing ever that happens to me 1,000 times that, triggers my PTSD happened again. I'm not going to let it upset me.
Bro,
like, I have won. I have a victory. And then someone else is going to go, you suck, though. And then it's like, well, now I'm fucking in it. Let's do this.
Dude, you should, every time you stream Tarkov, you should stream on like a 4-minute delay so that you have the time to die, be frustrated, mauled, reset, and be like, okay, chat's about to get toxic. Don't worry about it. And then it fills up, and by the time it gets there, you're like, whatever, I don't even care anymore. You know what I mean?
I should just do a fucking 24-hour delay. The crazy thing is, right now, you're talking to me yesterday. It's Wednesday, July 6th.
Yeah.
So like, now you have to wrap your head around how I was able to know exactly what you were going to say and record all of this as if
we were talking.
I wasn't Jesse's live. I'm pre-recorded.
Dude,
fucking wrap your head around that.
That's because you went to the subway lady and went, oh, and you accessed the memory on a different version of you.
Dude, imagine if I was just like, and had fucking hot dog fingers. You'd be like, oh shit,
it's real.
God. And all of a sudden, I just like poof, teleported away, and
yep.
I don't think that's exactly how that
worked. But
yeah,
it would still be weird. But yeah, I mean, that's it. That's all that's going on in Tarkov. That I like really feel like a weight lifted. Being able to just yell about it.
I'm always here for you to maul.
Freaking the podcast is therapy, man.
I'm never gonna fucking maul at you for mauling. Okay, even if all the viewers say fuck this and we have no more views, every time there's a podcast there's 2 views and it's my IP address and your IP address, I'll always let you maul to me, buddy.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Trackmania is free. Download on Ubisoft Connect. No big deal.
Oh man, I'm already being like, all right, how much time until I start playing some Star Citizen? True. All right, well, that's it. That's what's going on in Tarkov. Those are the poggers things that are going on in life. Watch everything everywhere all at once. Yeah. Do you watch The Boys?
I haven't watched the newest season or anything. I got to catch up. I don't know that I finished. Is it season 3 just came out?
Season 3 is like halfway through.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't think I finished season 2. It was really good, but I forget what happened.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was just thinking, what are the other things? I was just thinking through what are the other things that I'm into right now. The Boys is good. Stranger Things, but I know that that's not your thing. Peaky Blinders.
I liked Stranger Things. My wife is already like into. She was watching it and it like looked like it was like I remembered it. The shit that was going on because I'm sitting there like watching TV, playing Hearthstone while she's like asleep with fucking same episodes going all the way through, and it was like season 3 Stranger Things, and I was like, wasn't that like the second episode of season 1? Like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden I see her watching it last night, and they're like, they all look like 4 years older. Like,
Yeah.
they all just hit puberty. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's been a few years since season 3 and 4, so they definitely all look older.
Yeah, I need to get caught up. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I'll watch both of those things eventually, but these days I'm on fucking rock climbing YouTube.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks, man. If you made it this far in the episode, then you're a real one. Thanks for.
They started typing the paragraph comment that they're typing now, the essay about how much they either love us or hate us.
Yeah, 100%.
They're gonna hit post soon.
100%. So thanks everybody that hung out live. This will be live on all the platforms Monday morning. And if you made it this far, type 69 in the YouTube comments, so we know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging. We appreciate you being here, and we'll definitely see y'all in the next one.
Peace.